a question from Mel_MC on Instagram, and she asks, any signs pens are getting more popular? Fountain pens are getting more popular? Is it even possible to tell?
Ooh.
What do you think, Brian?
Fountain pens, like just in general?
I guess, yeah, the hobby, the interest.
And under what time frame? Like more popular in the last 2 weeks, in the last 12 years?
I don't know. Lel_MC is not here for me to ask, so we're going to suppose.
I'm going to say if you're looking at a reasonable time frame, 5-10 years or so.
Yeah, let's do 5-10 years.
We only have perspective on maybe 11 or 12 years. I would say, yes, they have gotten more popular for the most part. The internet, the rise of social media, the ability for people to share more about it, educate themselves, educate others. We certainly have participated quite a bit in that. We did not exist a little over a decade ago, and now here we are. So I think we can speak to that at least. Globally, though, I don't know, because I think it's kind of interesting when you think about countries like Japan and Germany and France, India, China, places where fountain pens are a little more prolific. They have like fountain pens in schools and things like that. When I talk to people that are living in those areas, they talk about it being a little bit on the decline, kind of like in the UK, all the kids had it in school and they like never use it once they get out of school for the most part. So it's like, I think there are different periods of decline in different countries. So in terms of globally, I don't know. I don't know if the enthusiasts that are getting into it are making up for the loss of like schools using them and teaching them to the younger generations. I would say maybe not. That at some point it'll settle out to where it's maybe not the go-to tool that's used in school, because obviously digital and technology and with COVID life and, my kids have been virtual for the entire last year. So they're not really pushing fountain pen use or really any pen use at all in school. So globally, that's probably going to be more the trend. And then you'll have enthusiasts that are going to find it. So I think it's more that it's shifting in general, but it's hard to tell exactly.
Do you think that maybe because it never went out of style in some European countries that it hasn't been able to make a comeback? Maybe they need to follow the similar trajectory that we did, where it totally goes away and then comes back with a vengeance.
Yeah, like maybe it's not really going away and then coming back. Maybe in certain countries, like there's a lot of kids still using them, but then there's also the internet. So you can kind of just continue using it. It's just the use shifts to a little bit more of a hobby as opposed to, a tool.
And you know what I have seen, and you've probably seen the same thing. When we first went to the DC show, you've been going longer than I have, but I've been going for the past 7 years, I think.
Yeah.
The demographic is much more varied than it used to be.
The
tables are much more varied.
More diverse, younger, wider variety of people, more international.
First time I went, a lot of vintage stuff.
Oh, yeah.
At the DC show. And as I've continued to go, there's still a ton of vintage stuff.
Yeah.
But there's a lot more new, fresh, innovative stuff as well.
Yeah.
So I think that's attracted a wider variety of people. So
yeah, and I think that also speaks to, I think what you're seeing there is you're seeing probably just a greater trend of independent craftspeople, makers.
Oh, yes.
Because I would again point to the internet, social media. When you eliminate all these barriers of things like marketing and development costs and consumer reports type things, when you have accessibility and low barrier to entry and low cost for all these types of things, it allows individuals who have a great idea for a product to make that much more feasible.
And they can market themselves on social media.
They can market themselves. They can source their products easier. They can test market them. They can sell them on Instagram or eBay or whatever, with lower fees and stuff than what did you do 20 years ago? You had it in a catalog or you consigned it through a brick and mortar store. And, it was a lot more work to try to do that as an independent pen maker or whatever craftsperson. So I think that has contributed to a rise of boutique products. But then much larger companies, maybe aren't getting into the game as much. So you're seeing a lot more enthusiast-driven, a lot more, innovation, but on a smaller scale.
Yeah, that's a good point. I like that.
Yeah. Still fun, very interesting, very dynamic. I don't know. If you mix all that together, I don't know if that means they're more popular, less popular. I would just say it's evolving.
I would say that if you feel like you've noticed it being more popular, you're probably not wrong.
Yeah. And who really cares? As long as cool stuff's coming out and as long as you're enjoying it, who really cares if it's like globally a big thing? As long as you're getting what you want out of it.
Maybe you're one of those people who, wait, if this is popular, I don't want to like it anymore.
I mean,
Is it still underground? Because if it's not, I'm going to find this other band that nobody knows about.
that's right.